Welcome to the Study Abroad for Global Studies Majors meeting. My name is Megan Pankratz and I'm one of the regional advisors in the UCSB EAP office. Joining me today, we have the undergraduate global studies advisor. Would you like to say a quick hello?
Sure. Hi, everyone. I'm Megan Zero. I'm the undergraduate advisor in the Department of Global Studies. So you probably have gotten some emails from me over the past several weeks. So I can be a point person for you as you start to think about study abroad.
Also joining us are one of the peer advisors in the Global Studies office. Leah, would you like to give a quick introduction?
Hi, my name is Leah. I'm one of the new peer advisors for the Department of Global Studies, and I personally studied abroad last year, so I'm super excited to talk to you all today.
And where did you study abroad?
I studied in Bologna, Italy for a year.
And also joining us today is Jackie, one of the UCSB EAP peer advisors. Would you also like to introduce yourself?
Hi everyone, I'm Jackie. I'm a fourth year Global Studies major, Portuguese minor, and I got to study abroad twice in Barcelona, Spain, as well as in Rio de Janeiro, Brazil.
Thank you. So we'll be hearing from all of them later in the presentation. The focus of today's meeting is to relay specific advice for studying abroad as a global studies major. We plan to cover why you should study abroad as a global studies major, where you might consider going given your major, how you can figure it all out and the resources that are available to you. And then we'll hear from some returnees. So first, the why. By taking major classes abroad, you can help ensure that you stay on track to graduate on time, or we've even had students be able to graduate early. We assume you chose your major because it's something you're interested in, so why not pursue that interest in another setting that may offer you brand new perspectives and outlooks. You may even find courses that can count towards your major that aren't offered at UCSB. So Ryan, featured on the slide on the top left, studied abroad in Thailand and was able to take a Thai language and culture class and a Thai Buddhism class, both topics that cannot be found at UCSB. In addition to coursework, you can do an internship or research related to your major. Jessie, featured in the middle, pictured backpacking through Patagonia. She's on the left there. She studied abroad in Santiago, Chile for an entire year, and because of that was able to intern for 2 different organizations. So in her first semester, she interned for a nonprofit organization, and in her second semester, she interned with a law firm. Lastly, you'll simply make yourself more marketable by studying abroad. So you're going to graduate, with a degree from the prestigious University of UCSB, but your study abroad experience can help you stand out, in that first job interview or on that resume or graduate school application. And I forgot to mention too, you'll have your chance to build connections and build your social and professional network while abroad as well. Pictured on the bottom right is Isaiah in the back there. He's one of our UCSB EAP peer advisors, and he studied abroad at the University of Barcelona in Spain. Pictured here with his host family. A homestay can be a great option for students out there wanting to improve their language ability and just really get a deeper look and experience into the host culture, not to mention those home-cooked meals. And also pictured on this slide on the bottom left is Rachel. On the right, she spent an entire year at the University of Ghana in Africa. And pictured here, talk about hands-on immersion. She's helping prepare a traditional dish. Jackie, why do you think it's important for global studies majors to study abroad?
Yeah, one thing I noticed stepping foot into Barcelona, Spain was that as a global studies major, I was able to see the impact of globalization in my daily life. So I saw the good, the bad, and the ugly, just walking around. And it was amazing to not only take classes that related to my major that dealt with, for example, Spain and the EU and Catalonia, but as well as have an international classroom. I think it was super amazing to have classmates that were from all around the world and see so many different perspectives.
And Leah, do you have anything you'd add on why global studies majors should study abroad?
Yeah, I definitely think that the cultural immersion aspect of it for me was the most important part. And as a global studies major, really opened my eyes to the world outside of an American lens. especially with the classes I was taking too, having foreign professors teach from like their life experiences and their stories really added another dimension to everything I was learning.
Definitely. Thanks for sharing. So now let's talk about where you should go. So as a global studies major, you have, practically the entire world open to you versus some of the other majors that may have more strict requirements or STEM subjects. UCAP does offer over 150 programs in 40 countries across 6 continents. So there really are a lot of choices out there and really a program out there for everyone. To search for global studies program possibilities, we encourage you to visit the UCEAP website and use the Find a Program search tool that's circled here on the slide. So without narrowing down your search, you'll find those over 150 program options. But by identifying first the discipline area and then subject area, the list of possible programs can be narrowed down. And as you'll notice, you'll want to select international studies. So it doesn't list global studies in particular, so just keep an eye out for that. You can see here that there are over 70 programs offering coursework in international studies. I think global studies may be somewhat interdisciplinary, so you may be able to find courses that will work for your major in, say, political science area or another one. So do keep that in mind as well. You can further narrow down your search when using this tool by selecting language of instruction and or desired term, among other criteria. So we encourage you to really play around with this tool, search for those programs of interest and just explore your possibility. So we mentioned internships a little bit earlier, but in addition to taking your courses in your major, I highly recommend you consider doing an internship abroad. It's a great way to gain professional experience and not to mention professional international experience. And it does offer you a unique way to better get to know your host community, outside of your university campus. So we have study abroad programs that integrate internships into them for academic credit. Or there are many programs, most of our immersion programs, for example, that will allow you to arrange your own internship. We also have a UCSB EAP specific scholarship, the Freeman Internship Scholarship, for students interested in select programs in Asia. You can intern for academic credit and receive typically it's $3,000 for a summer program, $4,000 for a semester program, or $6,000 for a year-long program. And pictured here, Emma, she was actually a Freeman Internship Scholarship recipient. She participated in the Summer Global Internship Singapore program, where the internship was a built-in component. She was able to intern with a nonprofit organization that was aimed at ending homelessness. The photos in the middle are of Leslie Hernandez, who spent an entire year in Germany. Because she was there for an entire year, you might see a pattern here, she was able to intern at 2 different organizations. So one, she was able to intern at an after-school program for local immigrant and refugee youth. And for her second semester, she interned with an international recruitment agency, and she was actually able to receive a monthly stipend in that second internship. So she did have to find it on her own. Again, we have support staff in all of the locations that will be able to help you in your search, but it's really for those secure your own programs, the responsibility of the student to ultimately secure their internship. The last picture features Esther, who participated in our Global Studies Geneva program. That's another one that has a built-in internship opportunity, and she was actually able to intern with Geneva for Human Rights, a non-governmental organization. So there are lots of different internship opportunities available out there. When you think about here in Santa Barbara, it's somewhat small and you're all competing, against each other for the same internships. But, if you study abroad at one of our big international cities, you may have more opportunities available to you. So now let's look about how. Let's talk about the additional resources that we have for you. So pictured here is our UCSB EAP website. So it is different from the UC EAP website we showed you earlier. This is where you can find a lot of the campus-specific information. So by clicking on the Academics tab at the top, there will be a drop-down menu which will take you to the advising pages for all of the majors on campus. So here's a picture of the Global Studies major advising page where you'll find specific advice from your department. And also on this page, you'll see that there are some videos of Global Studies majors who studied abroad. So definitely check those out in your free time. Another excellent source of information about courses that have been taken for major credit by Gauchos is our Gaucho Credit Abroad database. This can also be found on the UCSB EAP website under Academics. So this database shows the type of credit UCSB students have received for their UCAP courses they've taken abroad. And here is an example from the, if you search for Global Studies major credit, and you'll find over 1,000 entries and over 20 pages of results. So again, for Global Studies majors, there are lots of UCAP programs where that can help you fulfill major requirements. Do keep in mind, this is a historic database of what has been done in the past. So it doesn't necessarily tell you what will be offered in your exact term when you go abroad. It also doesn't mean that these courses are pre-approved for your department. But it does list the classes that have been petitioned for major credit in the past. This list is not the list that you need to choose from. So if you're not seeing a country or a program or particular class you're interested in, it doesn't mean you can't take it. Keep that in mind. Yet another resource for you is the UCEAP course catalog. So the Gaucho Credit Abroad database tells you what UCSB students have taken abroad and what type of credit they received at UCSB. The broader resource of the UCAP course catalog contains courses taken by all UC students across the system, not just UCSB students. So it can be found, we link to it on our UCSB EAP website under Academics on the left-hand sidebar, but you can also find it under Student Resources on the menu on the UCEAP homepage. And here is the snippet for international studies courses. So you can see, you can find over 500 different classes that have been taken in international studies across the UC EAP programs. If you do click on the hyperlinks, you can find a short course description, as well as what language the course was taught in, how many units, if it was for upper or lower division credit, and more. But just like the Gaucho Credit Abroad database, it simply reflects what's been done in the past. And new UCAP programs are being added every year, and we won't have that historical, data just yet. So again, you're not held to these, but it can be a great resource as you are planning for your study abroad term. That being said, the most up-to-date, accurate information will be found on the UCAP website if you visit the program page of the program that interests you. So on the Academics tab, you'll find the most accurate course information, including the number of courses you'll be taking abroad, the minimum number of units you'll be expected to enroll in. If you are applying for a host university program like the one seen here, the National University of Singapore, you'll find links under the catalogs and resources section to the actual host university website, to their course catalogs, to their syllabi searches if they have them. So all of these will show you, what's been offered this year. But like UCSB, we don't know exactly what will be taught next year. So you may have to look at what's offered this year to get that idea of what will be offered when you do go abroad. So we've covered a lot about the resources available to you to search for UCAP programs that offer courses in global studies and global and international studies, and where to find information about courses that students have taken in the past. I'd now like to talk briefly about how you can get major credit for your UCAP courses. So first off, do know that all of your units taken abroad will automatically transfer over, appear on your UCSB transcript, show up in gold, and count towards graduation requirements. However, in order to get credit towards your major or minor requirements, it's not automatic. So you will have to work with your department for those to count. And just one note too, you don't necessarily have to take major credit abroad, major classes abroad if you would like to focus on something else, a different interest, or focus on your GEs, that's okay too. If you fulfill all of your classes at UCSB, you can focus on something else abroad. That's completely fine, but I think especially for you global studies majors, it'll be really important and really unique opportunity to take classes that are global studies related in your host country and culture to really get, a broader outlook. Let's see, typically major coursework must be for upper division and for a letter grade. We highly recommend communicating with your major advisor before you go, and you actually all will have to, because there is an academic planning form that you'll need to have Megan sign when you submit your application. But we also understand that, planning and that what you plan to take and what you actually enroll in may be two completely different things. That course you thought you might take may not be offered the term you go, you might change your mind, or there might be a scheduling conflict. So it's really important to find a program that offers lots of classes that will be applicable, and so that you can be adaptable. Not only do we encourage you to speak with your major advisor before you go, but even while abroad, especially as you're finalizing your course registration. We encourage you to keep all of your work from abroad, syllabi, papers, reading lists, graded assignments, exams, because you will have to petition for your coursework abroad to count when you get back, and when your grades are processed and appear in gold. So with all of that said, let's hear directly from your Global Studies advisor, Megan.
I think I unmuted. Hi everyone. If I didn't get a chance to introduce myself when you were just joining in at the beginning of the call, I'm Megan Zero. I'm the undergrad advisor in the department. So I am definitely your main point person to talk over plans for study abroad. I think Megan covered a lot of the process for what the planning involved in terms of picking a program and kind of thinking through how to find classes works. And then you come to me and we take a look at the classes you're thinking of taking and kind of just see where it would fit into your major requirements. We definitely encourage you to study abroad if at all possible. I know this year is a little complicated, but especially if you're a freshman or sophomore this year, you can still be thinking ahead, and we can be hoping that things will shift into the future so that you do have more options to study abroad. It is a fantastic opportunity if you can do it. And we want to support that by making sure that you have lots of areas in our major requirements where we can make some substitutions and you can take some classes abroad that would be able to count. So I'll just call out a few of the key ones. Anyone familiar with the major requirement sheet? Our language requirement is a really popular area on the major sheet to do at least part of through your study abroad experience. And then in the upper division major, you can do typically area 2B and area 3 region classes. Those are the really common areas that you can fulfill using your study abroad credits. But again, everything you take transfers, everything you take counts for units towards graduation. So no matter what, it's worth it to go. You do have time with some careful planning. So definitely recommended that you take that time if possible. The other things that I wanted to chat about, I guess, would just be sort of some things to think about. And if you are starting to get more serious about doing your research and thinking about applying, some resources to know about. Our website is undergoing some massive construction recently. One of the tabs on our website that still has some finishing touches on the way would be our study abroad section. We're doing some updated resources, one of which is the fact that we now have 2 new peer advisors who are also going to be really great resources. They've studied abroad recently. They've been through the entire process. They've even applied for scholarships, so they kind of know what that process looks like. So you can definitely pick their brain. Their contact information will be officially put out on our department website in the next couple of weeks. You'll also be getting an email from me officially announcing how to get in touch with them, what their hours are, how to set up appointment times with them, things like that, how to reach out to them. So that's going to be something. We're also going to have a new database that you can use in conjunction with the campus credit abroad for deciding on potential programs that you might want to look into, that maybe you're even programs that are like lesser known that might be really interesting that you would be able to use for global major credit. So those are just a little preview of what's coming in the next couple of weeks. Be looking for that on our department website, global.ucsb.edu. From a personal standpoint, I was a UC student as well. I did not go on a UC EAP study abroad program, but I did do 2 shorter term summer programs that were UC school specific, one through UCLA, one through UC Davis. Had a fantastic experience on both of them. I loved that I got to go to 2 different places over 2 different summers. I was an English major and a Spanish minor. So one year I did a trip to England, and then the next year I did a trip to Argentina, and it was about a month each round. And it just was, you know, so many things that I walked away from with both of those experiences. Definitely the language experience. It's one thing to learn a language in a classroom setting and think that you've gotten to quarter 6 of your language and then go abroad and realize, wow, I really don't know this language until I'm immersed in it, until I have to survive in it, until I have to order dinner and ask for a taxi cab and get my hair cut and things like that. So that was a really fantastic experience. I'll also say, and to echo the idea that sometimes you don't realize how going abroad can put you on your path, you know, career-wise, and thinking about what your next steps are. I didn't really know what I wanted to do after college, but I had kind of this like fateful experience where I sat next to somebody on the plane from on the way back from Argentina, who was on her way back from 8 months of teaching abroad in Brazil. And I kind of had an idea that I wanted to do that. So I got to talk to her about that, and just, you know, getting the chance to meet so many new people that you might not otherwise encounter in your day-to-day life. So she kind of inspired me to look into that for my time after college. So you just never know, right? When you open yourself up to those new experiences. So we're here to support you. We're here to encourage you. We're here to help you get on that path if you do think you want to study abroad and make it a reality.
Excellent, thank you. So Megan, is the in this remote environment, is email the best way for students to reach out to you, or how can they get in touch with you?
Yeah, so email's a really great start. If you take a look at our website on the undergrad advising section, towards the bottom, there's also some other opportunities for how to get in touch with us. We have drop-in advising, but for study abroad conversations, which can go a little bit longer, we really want to get a chance to dig into it with you. Email's a great starting point, and then also you can book appointments. So there's a link to my appointment calendar. Eventually you'll see links to our peer advisors' appointment calendars as well. So you can actually just get onto our calendar for about a half an hour chat about what you're thinking and kind of getting started with your application. You can also touch base with us if you've already started the application and you just need that signature on your planning form that you'll see once you start your application. So email's good. We can also do appointments. But if you don't know where to start, feel free to email us. Yeah.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Next, let's hear from Global Studies Peer Advisor, Leah.
Hi, so I, like I said earlier, studied at the University of Bologna. My program was supposed to be a year long, but unfortunately at the start of March this last year, I had to come home due to the current global situation, the pandemic. But I absolutely loved my time there. I'm so sad it was cut short, but I'm so thankful that I was there for so long. And I really do think that being there for a year was a really enriching experience. So I took a variety of classes for the global studies major while I was there. In the fall, I did an intensive language program because I was at an immersive program, and did Italian 50, which kind of gives you credit for Italian 3, Italian 4. And in the spring, before I was coming home, I had actually started an Italian class one-on-one with a tutor at my study center. So I was going to be receiving UC credit for that. And it was just me and an Italian woman, and we would chat for a few hours a week. And that was how I was doing my classes. So that was an awesome experience that the UC system just can't really offer you here. For the juniors and seniors that are here today, that lower division history requirement where you have to study, I think, like one region in depth, it's not on the new pre-major requirement. I actually took an upper division history course there on Europe and world history and like learned about like anarchy in Europe, and I was able to substitute that for the lower division course. So that was a super awesome opportunity. Really amazing professor. For my language or my region specific requirement, I took 2 courses. One was about walking, which is kind of interesting. It was taught through my study center, so it was a professor from UC San Diego, and my entire program took it together, which we all really enjoyed, and like got to know each other, and we learned about like the different social ways, like and political ways walking has been used. And I did my project specifically on in North America, because I am a North American emphasis, so I was able to get credit for that while abroad in Italy, which was amazing. And the second class I had started for that was a North American literature class. So being in an immersive program does offer you the opportunity to study topics that aren't even necessarily your regional emphasis, because they're just full-blown universities and like have courses from all around the world being taught. And then my final course that I was able to take was for Area 2B, which is the global topics like elective. And I took a criminology of the borders class, where I was able to learn about global immigration systems and how they tie into criminal systems in different countries, and learn about the impact of globalization like on immigration, the criminalization of immigration. Super interesting stuff.
Sounds very interesting. Thanks for sharing. So the other Global Studies EAP peer advisor wasn't able to speak today, but her contact information is here on the slide, and she studied abroad in Spain at the University of Barcelona. So feel free to contact Viviana if you have questions about that. And lastly, let's hear from UCSB EAP peer advisor, Jackie, who studied abroad in Brazil and Spain. Jackie?
Hi everyone. So specifically, I spent my summer of my upcoming junior year studying abroad in Barcelona, Spain at La Fuenlabrada University. And that was amazing because I had never like studied abroad. I had gone abroad here and there, but to be in an international classroom just made me more and more encouraged to pursue a career in international relations. Specifically, I remember my EU and Catalonian independence class, in which I got to learn about the strife that was going on, that was highly publicized, as well as have classmates that were living in Catalonia, Barcelona, or classmates that were Italian or Brazilian, and seeing their input and their perspectives. So that was phenomenal. On the bottom right-hand corner, you can see me in Barcelona. This is the Parc Güell, which is a very touristy, well-known spot. You might remember it from the Cheetah Girls, and that was super cool living in Barcelona and being only 30 minutes away from this. Also, if you look nearby that, it's a picture of me and my friends, and this is a very famous cathedral in Barcelona as well, and it was only 10 minutes away from me. So it definitely opened up my eyes to not only how much I wanted to like pursue this in international relations, but also it just made me realize that I was actually delving into my global studies major more, because I got to see what we were reading and watching in class, but in a very up close and personal way. And then following that, I got super excited because I came back from Europe, and I came back with so much passion to study abroad and so much passion with international relations that I went to Brazil for a semester, and I took all of my classes in Portuguese. So that was amazing. At first it was so difficult because I took a year of it, and I know that part of the prereqs for our major is a language requirement. So I was set with that, but as Megan mentioned, you think you know the language, you think you're ready to go, and then you actually go into a country where you're immersed in it, and it really throws you for a loop. And I knew I was encouraged to take my classes all in Portuguese because the people in the study abroad office encouraged me because I fulfilled the requirements. And at first it was really difficult because not only was I immersed in slang and like different accents, but I also had to read like 10 to like 50-page documents all in Portuguese. But at the end of the day, it was challenging, but my Portuguese became so proficient because not only was I immersed in it in the streets and talking to my host mom, but also in the classroom. And I got to make amazing Brazilian friends. and I felt like I had unlocked a new level of the culture and the language. So I took classes that counted towards my region requirement, as well as a language requirement. So I took classes that counted, that were named as like Brazilian foreign policy, which was really cool. And I also took a class that was about Brazilian culture and literature. So that was super cool. And then here you can see, I mean, I'll just like go through the pictures. There's me with the famous Christ the Redeemer statue. My friends and I actually accidentally hiked it because we thought it was going to be very touristy. It wasn't. It was a very intense hike. Here next to that picture is my friend and myself celebrating Carnival. So that was super cool, because something that's really amazing about studying abroad is that you'll find yourself doing things that are very bucket list, in a very bucket list manner. So not a lot of people get to celebrate the famous Carnival, but since I was there as a student, I got to celebrate it with my Brazilian friends, as well as celebrate it because I'm there and I'm just like living life there and implementing myself in the culture. And at the very bottom, this is a picture of all the people in my program when we decided to hike the famous Dois and Mais mountain. And that was a really fun experience.
And wasn't your apartment on a famous street?
Oh my gosh, yeah. So what I love to, I guess, brag about is that there's a famous song in Brazilian jazz called The Girl from Ipanema. And I lived on the same street in which it was written. And actually, the picture at the very right, where I'm wearing like a yellow tank top, is myself in front of the restaurant in which it was written. So that was super cool, because every day I'd walk to the beach and I'd tell myself, oh, I'm the girl from Ipanema.
Thank you, Jackie. So please do hold any questions for Jackie and Leah until the end of the presentation. We're almost there. So you may be feeling a little bit overwhelmed at this point. We threw a lot of information at you, lots of different databases, websites, to explore. So, there is a lot of choice out there, and that can be a good thing, but it can be overwhelming at times. Do remember that UCAP offers a wide range of programs, different types, different terms, different countries, language systems. And the programs are for all UC students across all 9 campuses. So unfortunately, we can't just say, oh, you're a global studies major, you can go to this university, take these classes, and this is how it will count for your major. But the good thing is, we're all here for you. You're a global studies department and the UCSB EAP office. So we have, we're open regular business hours, 9:30 to 4, Monday through Thursday, and 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. on Fridays. So we encourage you to visit our Contact Us tab on our website, and you can meet with our lovely peer advisors via Zoom, or you can set up appointments with regional advisors such as myself if you have some really program specific questions. So we do hope to see you soon. And some final words of advice, start planning now. The earlier you plan, the more options you'll have available to you, the more time you'll have to really find that program that best meets your needs. We encourage you to attend more of our meetings. So for any of you double majors out there, we're having more major specific meetings. We're also having country specific info meetings throughout October and into November. As was mentioned at the top of the presentation, we have our Study Abroad 101 general info sessions every Friday at 2 p.m. and our cost and scholarships info sessions every Friday at 3 p.m. So we encourage you to attend and hope to see you at a future event. Be sure to be consulting with your advisors and peer advisors at your department, your college, or in our UCSB EAP office. Remember, if you don't apply and plan, you don't go. So again, there's no application fee. So we encourage you to plan and not miss out and submit that application. So this does conclude our presentation.